Hi everybody, welcome to the session on Control M Basics. So Control M is a BMC product. So here in this session, we will be understanding what exactly is Control M and how are we going to benefit from Control M and how is it going to help the developers and what are the kind of use cases that you could design on Control M, just an overview. And also we will be focusing on what exactly we can do with the planning domain in Control M. So Control M, it is a scheduling solution. So it's an enterprise solution. So it helps us with automatic scheduling. You can define when your job has to run, and you can manage the business workflows. You can process the business workflows. That is like you can set dependencies. Say you have some 3 4 jobs that has to run in a particular workflow. You can set dependencies like on success of first job, you can trigger the successive jobs. And Control M helps us with predictive analytics. That is, it helps us to identify the problems before they impact the business. So Control M is an enterprise workload automation solution. It is a comprehensive tool for automating the scheduling and processing of business workflows across different workflows. So, how does it help the developers? So, basically, the developers can create a proper workflow and they can manage their workspace and control them to get their desired output. That is, they can automate the repetitive task. So you can avoid the interference, the manual interference, and everything can happen on a automated way. And this basically helps in improving the efficiency because everything the machine is taking care of, where you don't need any manual efforts, and it ensures job reliability. That is, all the process is well articulated when you have the defined steps of how the job has to run and what are the different parameters or what you're trying to achieve. So basically the reliability is really great on using Control M. In Control M, we have different domains. So it could be planning, monitoring, tools, configuration, Control M reports. So we'll deep dive further. So basically the planning domain, we have something called as workspace and control M. So that is, imagine that you are drawing on a book. So the white sheet is your workspace, and the different jobs that you're going to create and the structures of how you're going to set the dependencies or what you're trying to expect is the drawing that you're going to do on that sheet of your workspace. So basically it helps in creating and monitoring the workspace, and you can define the job parameters like say you have some specific variables that are required to run a job, so you can set all of those as job parameters. You can save, validate, export workflows. So basically you would have created some workflows, and you would want to copy the structure, but maybe the analytics that you do inside would vary. So you can basically reuse the structures. So that is how the export helps us. And basically once you create everything, validation is something very important, and you can enhance the efficiency in job scheduling and processing. So when you have the automated runs, it really increases the efficiency. And also the planning domain, you can come up with the job and folder management. So your jobs are organized in the form of folders. So this gives a clarity of how the jobs have to be processed, and you can schedule your jobs. So diving deep, planning is basically you're going to create the scheduling and you're defining the job processes. So it deals with submitting the jobs, the scheduling of jobs. So maybe the timing or the events and triggers that you have to trigger the particular job. And what are the post validations you do once a job has been executed. So all of this happens with planning. So when we tell job scheduling, what exactly is job scheduling? So you're going to write the actual task of what the job is expected to do. So see, I want to print the system date. You might have a function where you want to define it by now, and that gives you the date. But when you do it in a job scheduling, you're going to create a placeholder called job, where you create a new job and you write the formula as the system date has to be printed. So just as an example, so you have to also mention what is the criteria. So basically what you're trying to do with that job. So maybe it is trying to give you some output of a specific calculation, or you're going to create some trigger, or you're going to create some new logic out of that job, and you're going to pass that as a value or a parameter to the next job. So that is what you do with the job scheduling. And you should also set the dependencies in case you want it. And you can do a very good folder management in Control M with the planning stage. It helps us to organize the jobs into folders for better management and visibility. And this kind of grouping helps us in identifying the related jobs and processes. So say I have two different tables, one with employee and one more with manager. So although it looks different, it might be related in some cases. So when we have a well-defined folder structure, we can isolate the jobs that we are trying to do, and creating the folders will give us a proper structure and a sequence of how you have to go about. And this helps in workload automation, the Control M. So basically you can have different complexity of workflows that you deal with. It could be a very easy task, or it could be a medium or a complex task. So any kind of workflow can be automated with Control M. So automating the workflow helps us in executing the job in the right order and at the right time. So see, I have job 1, job 2, job 3. So maybe my job 3 has to run first, and provided a particular variable created in job 1, only on that I have to trigger job 2. So there could be different situations of how you want to execute a job. So different kind of complexities can be handled. And also you can handle the resource allocation in managing all these dependencies. Control M has a powerful feature of this graphical user interface. It's easy to navigate. So not only that you have to create with complete scripting, you can also do drag and drop of folders, and you can set the sequence of how things has to be executed. So the design is quite easy to follow, and it allows users to visually map the job dependencies and schedules. You can see through the arrow marks of how the sequencing happens in the jobs, and through the properties you could see what are all the dependencies set for that creations. And create you can monitor and report in a better way in real time, so you can know the job statuses and performance metrics. And also you can create your customized reports where you can analyze the job execution, resource usage, and what really is happening, basically the logging. So when I say real-time monitoring of job status, so see, like I have triggered a job at 8 o'clock and my workspace is open where I'm able to see the monitoring. So you can see the different color changing that happens. So maybe when the scheduled time comes, it comes onto the yellow to show that the job has been started. And once it has been processed, you can see the box color changes to green. And in case you have any errors, it might come to the red color. So it's visibly appealing, and you can make the right decisions. And also Control M comes with the features of error handling and alerts. Like any other tool, you can handle the errors, you can manage the errors, and it allows the user to take the corrective action based on the alert messages that comes up. And you can also notify users. So you have a feature, something called as job all okay, job ended okay, and job ended not okay. So there could be some use case where you're trying to create reports for a particular use case, and you get to know that there is an error in that particular report generation, and this has to be prompted to users telling that there is some error in the process. So this mechanism helps you to notify the required users. You can add the required user group and they'll be alerted with the message telling that the report was generated incorrectly. And also you can use it in a positive use case as well. Like, see, once the report is generated, you want to prompt the users telling them to go and check for the latest report. So job ended okay will trigger the required message group of what about the report details. And there are various triggers for a job execution, like maybe a job has to execute on certain condition and certain system events and specific time and external signals. So all this is possible. With the development, there can be a lot of changes that comes up. So maybe the job definition that you create keeps on changing. So the version control and change management in Control M helps us to monitor and see the progress of how the changes has happened and what is the latest change that occurs. You can see that sequences, and this allows users to maintain a history and revert to previous version if needed. So see there is some error, some typo, something that happened with the current version, you can certainly go with the stable version of your previous version. uh, the versioning helps us with that feature. And you can work with the integration. So say like you have different data sources in your application, so you can integrate all the data sources together, you can stitch them together and enable seamless automation across different platforms. So there is no restriction as such that you have to use a particular platform. You can jump upon with different platforms. Customization. You can always customize your job configuration, including the parameters, the priority of execution, and the resource requirements. Like I mentioned earlier, maybe the structure that you use for the job creation might be similar. So maybe you have a workspace, you have a folder structure, in that you have different jobs that has to be executed. So maybe when you create a template of what is the structure required and maybe you want to imitate that structure across your project, you can certainly copy that structure and you can customize your specific job as per your requirement. Like I mentioned, maybe employees at one end, manager at one end, maybe HR at one end. So all this allows you for a easier customization. So these different features helps us in achieving efficiency, reliability, and visibility of the data processing workflows in enterprise environment. Thank you.